We begin this hour with pressure mounting on Turkey as it continues its military offensive into northeastern Syria. Today's NATO Secretary General is now joining the European Union in calling on Turkey to use restraint. This as members of Congress are moving to place sanctions on the NATO ally. RT's Rachel Blevins is joining us now from the newsroom with all the latest information. Rachel?
Well, Manila, both Republicans and Democrats in Congress are moving to introduce legislation that would impose sanctions against Turkey as the country continues a military offensive in northeastern Syria. Announcing the plans for the House, Republican Conference Chairwoman Liz Cheney said Congress has long had concerns about Turkey's cooperation with U.S. adversaries such as Russia. And if Turkey wants to be treated like an ally, it must begin behaving like one. They are joining lawmakers in the Senate who are calling for immediate sanctions on senior Turkish government officials and a ban on all U.S. military transactions with Turkey. The NATO ally began its planned military offensive into northeastern Syria this week after the U.S. pulled back troops from the border. Initial reports claimed around 24 Kurdish fighters and 12 civilians were killed. More than 70,000 civilians were forced to flee from their homes to escape the bombing, and an estimated 300,000 civilians could be impacted if the offensive continues. Now, while Turkey is claiming the actions of its military are in response to a border conflict with the Kurds, which it labels as a terrorist group, its allies around the world are calling for restraint. In a meeting with Turkey's foreign minister, NATO Secretary General expressed concerns about the estimated 10,000 ISIS prisoners that have been guarded by the Kurds. He noted that if Turkey sets them free, it could lead to a resurgence of the group in Syria. The European Union's foreign policy chief is also calling on Turkey to end its military operation, arguing that renewed armed hostilities in the northeast will further undermine the stability of the whole region. Russia's foreign minister said Moscow is calling for dialogue with Syria between both Turkey and the Kurdish forces. And President Putin said he is concerned about how the release of those ISIS fighters would threaten the region.
It's a real threat for us. How and where they will move. Would they pass through Turkish territory or other territories? Would they go deeper to uncontrolled territories of Syria and move then through Iraq somewhere to other countries?
Meanwhile, President Trump doubled down on the claim that ISIS has been 100% defeated, and he said he is open to helping establish a deal between Turkey and the Kurds. So now it remains to be seen if Turkey will listen to the warnings of its allies, or if those warnings will be followed by sanctions from the U.S. and its partners against their NATO ally. Reporting in the newsroom, Rachel Blevins, RT.
And for more on Turkey's military offensive in northern Syria, let's turn to Burak Aydin. He's the director of outreach for the Kurdish Policy Research Center. Burak, good to see you.
Good to see you as
well. So Turkish President Recep Erdogan insists that this military incursion into northern Syria is necessary in order to clear this safe zone, as he calls it, in which to return many of these Syrian refugees who had fled ISIS. Do you believe that this is a valid characterization of those actions, or do you think this has more to do with linking the Kurds to the PKK?
I really do not think that this is a valid characterization, because we've seen in the past in the city of Afrin the population of 300,000 Kurds. Last year was occupied by Turkey and nearly 200,000 people displaced from the city, and instead nearly 300,000 people were moved back to the city from Turkey, those refugees so-called, but we've come to figure out that they had links to ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and so on. So this is a significant demographic change, and this is what Turkey targets, unfortunately. And Erdogan's argument, to clear the safe zone, so it is safe zone. I don't know what to clear in that safe zone.
It's safe already.
It is already safe. And, it's democratically governed. It's a pluralist government, Northern Syrian administration. It's inclusive. Arabs, Kurds, Christians, Assyrians, any type of minorities are included in the administration. So they're already in a safe zone. So going into Syria, in that northern Syrian area, is only going to escalate this already existing war.
Now, on the flip side, I understand what you're saying, that there's no need for Turkey to go in there, but being that this is Erdogan's argument. Turkey has ruled the PKK a terrorist organization. They are of Kurdish ethnicity. The U.S. has aligned in the same position, calling the PKK a terror group. But in the way of the YPG and other Kurdish militias, they have been the U.S.'s main ally against ISIS. So for Turkey, don't they have the right to defend against what they call terrorists?
Absolutely. They do have the right to defend their territories. However, there is no existence of the PKK in northern Syria. This is a very invalid point, an argument made by Erdogan. It's absolutely nothing but an excuse to target the Kurds, the Kurdish administration in northern Syria. I want to make it clear once again, there is no existence of the PKK in northern Syria. Yes, there are Kurds.
That's strictly a Turkish problem.
It is strictly a Turkish problem. It is the hatred that Turkey has towards the Kurds. This point needs to be understood very clearly. There has been not a single bullet shot by the YPG or the SDF into the Turkish soil. There is absolutely no threat.
Posed by them.
Absolutely.
So the PKK is a problem that's reserved within Turkey's own borders.
Within Turkey's borders.
That they shouldn't bring over into Syria,
Absolutely,
into the Kurdish
Manila.
region.
Absolutely.
So some people are beginning to call this the beginning of a genocide or even ethnic cleansing. Is that going too far?
It is not going too far. Just, the example that I gave you of the city of Afrin, used to be a predominantly Kurdish city with a population of 323,000 to be precise, and 200,000 of them were displaced.
They fled.
They had to flee because there are kidnappings, lootings, and forceful religious conversions going on in that city, and this is being conducted by the FSA, backed by Turkish army. So, when we look at the schools, Kurdish is banned. When we look at the civilians left, the Kurdish civilians left in the city, they're extremely pressured. So if this is not cultural or ethnic assimilation, I don't know what is.
Wow, that is stunning. And to learn that the people that they have repopulated the city with, they did not vet, it sounds like, if terrorists are going in with the civilian population.
Unfortunately. And their, majority of the new population of that city is Arabs. Most of them are from Ghouta and other Arab cities of Syria that, previously fled to Turkey, but they were, again, displaced from Turkey to that Kurdish town.
So it has changed the ethnic population.
Demographics.
In that city. Absolutely interesting. This is obviously a very fluid situation. Please come back on and we'll discuss this some more. Burak, Aydin, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Manila.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.